to it, so I figured I would go over some of my favorite brushes here on my IG story. So if you guys want to know and hear me talk about these, well then just click on through. First, we'll start off with some face brushes. The Artis brush. This is the Oval 8. I always want to call it the Oval 10. Look at that cat hair. Oh my god. This is the Oval 8. These brushes are super pricey, but I use them a lot for my foundation, and this one needs to be washed. Obviously, it's disgusting, but they're super durable. I've washed it 10 times probably, and it still feels the same as the day I got it. But I think this brush is like $65, which I agree, it's outrageous. So let's talk about some other great foundation brushes. This one is a way more affordable option. This is the Y6 brush from Morphe. I pretty much use this in every single one of my makeup tutorials on YouTube. It is a flat top kabuki, and the bristles feel just as soft as the Artis brush, and it just has the pretty gold handle. It's a very lightweight brush. It is affordable, so it doesn't feel like heavy and luxe or anything, but it feels super luxe whenever. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for a good cream liquid blending out brush. The Y6 Gilded collection from Morphe is where it's at. Now let's move on. A great brush to blend out the concealer is the I really like this brush for concealer because it's kabuki like feel, but it's tapered at the end, so it fits at the under eye really well. It's by Sigma Beauty, and it's super soft. This is a newer brush from their collection, and I have just been digging it. Okay, I have two brushes that I love to contour with. So this one I actually more love to bronze up my skin with because it has that angled shape, and it's just so great for the forehead and cheekbones. Is the E4 Elite collection from Morphe brushes. Because it is a little bit bigger, it's not so easy to define and contour with. It's more so easier to bronze up your face. But I also love to apply a blush with this brush, and it is the Elite collection, so it is a little bit more of the pricier collection. One that I like to add structure and like put bronzer in specific areas and really carve out my cheekbones and contour is the M570 brush from Morphe. As you can see, it has like that edge right there where you can stick it right in your cheekbone and carve out your cheekbone and get that nice contoured structured look. And it also, because it's like flat, you can get it right around those temples and forehead. So this is perfect, absolutely perfect for contouring the face, and it also picks up a lot of product because of the way the bristles are. Okay, next up is for baking. I really like the G37. This is the Gunmetal collection from Morphe, and if you can see how much smaller this brush is than the one to blend out the concealer, it's just so much smaller where you can get the baking powder in details. You can get the baking powder in specific areas so it's not blown out all over your face, because the way this is tapered at the top, you can get it right at the underline, along the sides of the nose, the chin, the forehead without messing up your eyebrows, because it's just not too big and fluffy. And it's also got a This is an interesting brush. It has like no name, but it's by e.l.f. and I like it if you have a smaller face and you like to contour it. It looks like a big eyeshadow blending brush, but it is great for contouring, especially if you want to get really detailed with it. This is a great brush to do so with. It is tiny, so if you like to use like the bigger brush to bronze up with, you might not like this so much. It could be like a big eyeshadow brush for you, but I just think it's a great brush from e.l.f. and of course it's super affordable. I just wish it had a name on it and I would tell you. Okay, we all know we are going to talk about the highlighting brush. There is one from the Rose Gold collection from Morphe that I'm obsessed with. I just don't have it on hand because it's dirty and it's in my drawer and I don't know what I did with it, just being honest. This is one that I use just as much as the Rose Gold. Sorry, that's Alice in Wonderland playing in the background and it's so loud right now. Anyways, this is the Y14 Gilded collection brush, and it feels just like the other Y14 brushes. It just has those really soft bristles and it picks up so much highlighter, so you can lightly sprinkle it. So you can lightly sprinkle the highlight across your cheekbone, and because it's so tiny, you can get detailed and it won't explode highlight all over your face. You can even get the tip of the nose, a little bit on the forehead, the cupid's bow with this brush, and I just have been using it forever and I love it so much, and she needs to. Okay, this little brush I love for contouring the nose. This is the Morphe M572 brush. If you can see, it's most flat brushes like this are pretty big, where you can just do the whole cheekbone. Because this one's so tiny, it is perfect for contouring the nose. I literally love, because the bristles are kind of rough, so they pick up a lot of product and you can just really carve out the nose. And if you're not into contouring nose, you can even add a little baking powder and bake your nose and just tap along the sides. It is so Those are my staple face brushes. Now we're going to move on and talk about some of my favorite eye brushes. And oddly enough, the E35 brush from Sigma is one of my favorites. This is actually the E40, but because this brush is like 7 years old, it is more like the E30. It's more like the E35. Again, this brush is just so old, and I've been using it forever. And yes, there's a cat hair on it because there's cat hair all over all my brushes. Isn't that right, Yoshi? So nowadays, this is exactly what the E35 brush looks like. It's like a little bit of a short, tighter blending brush. The E40 is good. It's just kind of a longer brush. So I find it a little bit harder to blend, but this one's a little short and has a little bit more density to it. So you can really blend out that transition shade and whatever else shade. But another brush is super similar to this one that I use almost every single day of my life is the M57, and it kind of gives you more control of your eyeshadow and gives you that cleaner look. Again, M573 brush is everything. Next up, we have a brush that I've been using since I started my channel, which is the Sigma E25 brush. And I probably should have did a live session because the story is getting so long. But anyways, again, this is the one that I use after I applied my transition shade. I like to buff colors in the outer corner with this brush or plug it in the crease and do the windshield wiper motion or this. I like brushes that have that flat edge to them, and I like to put product on one side of the brush and just pop it in the outer corner and dust back and forth, and this is the perfect brush to do that with. I can almost do a whole eyeshadow look with this brush alone. Hi! And something similar that I like a lot to the Morphe M573, I can't remember that, is Smith Cosmetics brushes. But the reason I don't recommend these as much because they're really expensive, and they're identical to the Morphe brushes. They're identical to the Morphe brushes, bristles, and everything. So I just tend to recommend the Morphe to you guys because, I mean, it cuts the cost in half. But I do love these, and I'm just letting you know while we're talking about brushes that they are great. So lately, instead of the E25 from Sigma, I've been using the R39 brush. If you can see, it is the same as the E25. Let me show you from Sigma. It has that flat edge, but the bristles are a little bit rougher with this brush. So I find up is the, I've been using her forever. This is the F70 from Sigma, and this is what I carve my eyebrows out with every single day with my MAC paint pot in soft ochre. Or you can also use a brush like this to apply a You can also use a brush like this to apply any shimmery eyeshadow wet with a little MAC Flex Plus onto your eyelid. So it's like great synthetic brushes like this that have so many multiple uses, and I highly recommend you have something similar to this in your kit if you are experimenting. Morphe E43 brush. This is like a flat edge, and this is the perfect shader brush to get right under that lower lash line and buff out a little bit of dark color without dispersing the color everywhere. This is the brush for that. Next, whenever I start every single eyeshadow look, because my MAC paint pot is so tacky, I like to dust a little cream or bone shade color all over it to set the primer, and I use this brush every day to do that with, and it's such a soft brush. The E27 brush is a part of their Elite collection, and it is so incredibly soft. It's just kind of big, and I have smaller eyelids, so I typically use this one for buffing in or setting the primer, and using the other E35 from Sigma to blend the transition shade just because I have smaller eyelids. We are almost done, guys. As far as eyebrows, I actually use a couple of this brush. It just has that perfect release this, but personally I just love applying a brow wax, brow dip, brow pomade, any kind of pomade or brow product with this brush. And lastly, I just want to share this brush with you. This is the Morphe E17. This is it has lash glue Better Days. But this is the Morphe E17 brush, and it is kind of like the bigger blender, but you see how much smaller it is, and so it's so great to buff in color in the outer corner. Or if you have small eyelids, this is like the perfect blender for you.